I don't even know these words. I can't even say this. Isn't this what happens when you speak English? I'm sure many of you have faced similar challenges, but have used simple but unnatural English and moved on. It's okay to use unnatural English that may not sound like a native speaker's, but can still be understood, especially if we're using English as a tool. Most of the time, our conversations are about explaining things, but we don't know all the words, right? So what do? We have to practice a little. The English text written here may be easier to read because it is what you already know and understand, and you'll grasp the sense of how to use English through the explanations of the words and phrases. This is an attempt to do so.
Reading practice. For speaking. Read silently or aloud, as if you were telling it to someone else. Audio will be without repetition, with a brief pause between each chunk or sentence. Cling film. Cling wrap.
Cling film. This is a thin, clear plastic. That you use to cover food and keep it fresh. People in the UK often use this word. Cling wrap. This is the same as cling film. But it's used more often in the US. It's plastic. You wrap around food to keep it fresh. Saran wrap. This is a brand name for cling wrap. It's popular in the US. Plastic wrap. This is the most general word. It means any plastic you use to cover or wrap food. Cling film. This is a thin, clear plastic sheet. That sticks to things. People use it to cover food and keep it fresh. Cling wrap. Another name for cling film is wrap. Because you wrap it around food. It works the same way. Saran wrap. This is a brand name for cling film. It's like saying Kleenex for tissues. Plastic wrap. A general name for any thin plastic film used to cover food. It keeps food fresh and prevents it from drying out. All these words mean the same thing. A thin, clear plastic sheet. That sticks to containers to keep food fresh. In the kitchen, you use it to cover bowls or wrap sandwiches. The plastic clings or sticks to things. Which is why it's often called cling film or cling wrap. Cling film or cling wrap is a thin plastic sheet. That sticks to itself and other surfaces without glue. It is used to cover and seal foods. Saran wrap is a brand name. For this type of plastic food wrapping. So in America, they often call it saran wrap. The plastic tightly wraps around foods. Like leftovers, cookies, or sandwiches to keep them fresh. It is see-through, so you can see what is inside. To use cling film. Tear off a piece and press it onto the food or container. Smoothing it with your hands. It will stick without needing tape or ties. This plastic wrap is very useful. For storing uneaten portions of food in the fridge or freezer. It prevents drying out and contamination. Contamination. Making food dirty or unsafe to eat. Contamination means something dirty or harmful getting into the food. Something dirty or harmful mixed with food. It prevents drying out and getting dirty. It keeps food clean from anything bad. It keeps food clean from dirt or harmful things. It keeps bad things from getting into the food. Cling film, cling wrap, saran wrap, and plastic wrap. All refer to a thin, clear material. Used to cover food and keep it fresh. This wrap is stretchy. And can stick to itself and other surfaces. Which makes it easy to use. When you have leftover food, You can use cling film to cover the dish or bowl. This helps keep the food from drying out. And protects it from dust or other things. It's also useful for wrapping sandwiches or fruits to take with you. The names might be different, but they all serve the same purpose. To help keep food fresh and safe. You can find this wrap in most kitchens. And it's very handy for cooking and food storage. Cling film, cling wrap, saran wrap, and plastic wrap. All refer to a thin, transparent plastic material. That is used for wrapping food to keep it fresh. Transparent. Transparent means you can see through it, like glass. All refer to a thin, see-through plastic material. All refer to a thin, clear plastic material. This type of wrap is designed to cling or stick to the surface of containers, bowls, or directly onto food itself. To create a seal. That helps prevent air and moisture from reaching the food. It is commonly used in kitchens. To cover leftover food, wrap sandwiches, or store ingredients in the refrigerator. When you use cling film or plastic wrap. You can stretch it over the opening of a container. Or wrap it around food. To protect it and maintain its freshness. It's a convenient way. To store and preserve food for later consumption. Preserve. Preserve means to keep something safe or in good condition for a long time. Consumption. Consumption means eating or using something. It's a convenient way to store and keep food fresh for eating later. Keep food safe for later use. Save food for later. This is a thin plastic sheet. That is clear and sticky on one side. It is used to cover and seal various foods. Helping them stay fresh longer. It is known by different names in different places. In some countries, like the UK, it is called cling film. Because the plastic clings tightly. To whatever surface it touches. In other places, like the US, it may be called cling wrap. Plastic wrap or saran wrap. Saran wrap is a brand name that became generic. You tear a piece off the roll. and wrap the plastic sheet directly onto foods. Overlapping the edges to seal in moisture. And prevent contamination. Common uses are covering bowls, wrapping leftovers, or packaging homemade sandwiches.
Now try to explain cling film, cling wrap. How is it? It's not that easy, is it? Of course, the goal is not to memorize, so don't try to force it. It's important to try to recall it once, so let's give it a good try. Other words. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps your learning English.